Okay, so if to talk more in more details about the penetration stage, yeah, and about the preparation, what you should do, how you should do, what are the challenges, and how to overcome these challenges.
Okay, so there are a couple of things I think you need to consider. First of all, the type of product that you're developing. In terms of who the buyer is within organizations, you know, there are different types. For example, security, what we dealt with so far. When you go to companies, they always have, especially now, what they call the CSO, Chief Security Officer, someone who's in charge to evaluate and secure the company, and they usually today report either directly to the CEO or to a VP of operations or something like this, very senior people. When you develop your product, you need to understand who you sell this to. You have to do a lot of research about who to sell it to, you know, how much they can buy and so forth, what they can sign off and so on. Things like, for example, databases. I'll try to, you know, kind of tell you lots of stories, and you know, I hope you can learn something from that. When we came with the database security product to the US, one thing we found that, you know, there are plenty of databases and so forth, and there were other companies that provided security for databases, security solutions. But their solutions were dependent on installing an agent on every database within the company. And this is, for example, something that database administrators hate. If everything works, the last thing they want is to install another agent on the database. So we provided a service which is kind of an umbrella, you know, kind of connecting to the pipeline, but not to the database itself. So it was much easier to penetrate the market with something like this. When you talk about products, it depends what type of product do you have, in the sense that how much you can charge for it. You have to research a lot about the competition, about who you sell to within an organization. Enterprises tend to have many levels of managers, and you need to understand who's the buyer, first of all, who's going to use the product, and then who's going to sign off and buy the product, who has the authority to buy the product. And that could be different groups. And you have to convince them all that, you know, they should buy your product. There's also an issue of how much they can spend. In the US, different managers have different rights to buy products. Some have, you know, sign off of $5,000. If they find a product that they want to buy for $5,000, they can just sign a check or sign a purchase order, send you, and they don't have to consult. They have the budget for it. It's easy. Some for $15,000, $50,000, $500,000, and so forth. So you need to find out exactly who's the person who can sign off on your product, and this is an important part. One other thing that we have learned, you know, sometimes when I was young, I thought that when we come to enterprises and we tell them we have a great product that can save them a lot of manpower, and, you know, if they use our product, they can, you know, get rid of 5 people, or, you know, that's the last thing that they want to hear. You know, no one wants to lose his job. No one really wants to fire anyone. So try not to do that. The only thing that interests corporations right now in the US, it's productivity. Tell them how, with the resources that they have, they can do more. This is what they want to hear. They're not going to fire anyone because they brought your solution in and so forth.